We're joined now by one of the best third basemen in baseball history, Ron Cey. A six-time All-Star for the Dodgers, the Penguin launched 316 home runs and drove in over 1,100 over a 17-year career that ranked him 5th in Dodgers history for home runs and walks, 6th in wins above replacement, and 10th for RBI. And when it comes to the players the Dodgers have featured over the years, that is truly saying something. Cey also earned a World Series ring with LA in 1981. Ron, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I posed this question to Tim Salmon last October, and I'm going to ask you now. In Clayton Kershaw, are we witnessing the greatest left-handed pitcher in Dodgers history?
I think that's a little premature at this point, but Clayton has certainly lived up to the billing about the second coming of Sandy Koufax to this point.
Mm-hmm. There have been some ups and downs, but the current Dodgers have a lot of talent. What do you make of this 2014 club to this point, and do you think they have the capability to win it all?
Yes, I do believe that they are capable of winning it all. I think that based on last year, the way we finished, the fact that we had enormous amount of injuries, which is also plaguing us again this year at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But the bullseye is back on the top of the forehead.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I wore and the players that wore before me is within the distance of projecting that these players should be getting to the World Series this year. Our eyes are on the World Series. I think it's a fair statement to make this time around. A few years ago, when new ownership came in, I thought it was a little premature, but after having the highest payroll in baseball, I believe that's a fair statement. However, I do believe that we are still underachieving quite a bit at the moment.
Mm-hmm. In watching Adrian Beltre's early days with the Dodgers, including the 48 homers he hit his final season in LA, to his relative struggles in Seattle, did you see the potential Hall of Fame player that he's become?
Oh, I don't think anybody can project that. Adrian certainly was one of the players that was on our list of being projected as a fine major league player, and he's lived up to all of that billing. He had his moments here. He struggled a bit in Seattle. He found himself again when he went to Boston, and I think he's pretty much at home in Texas, and he is definitely accumulating numbers that put him in an elite status for third basemen in Major League history. But I don't know if those numbers are going to equate to a Hall of Fame induction. It really kind of depends on how he finishes up from here on out. And it wouldn't hurt to win a World Series either.
Right, never does. Who do you feel is the best third baseman in the game right now? Is it Beltre, or do you think it's somebody else?
No, I think Adrian has been the best third baseman the past couple of years. Certainly there are some other candidates, but his numbers have gotten to be very good and very consistent here in the last 4 or 5 years. I remember being asked to pick the 5 best third basemen here for a Sports Illustrated article,
mm-hmm.
and I didn't have him in my top 5.
Oh, really?
And it was because he was not performing at the level that he's performing now.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just outside of that top 5. But I don't think there's much doubt right now that certainly if he's not the best third baseman in Major League Baseball today, he is definitely in the top 5.
Mm-hmm. You'd reached the playoffs 3 times prior to the 1981 season, then faced off with the Yankees for the 3rd time in the World Series. What was it like to not only achieve the ultimate, but to finally oust the Yankees to boot?
Well, first of all, the playoff structure is different today.
Mm-hmm.
Only winners went forward. We had National League East, National League West, and the same in the American League.
Mm-hmm.
2 winners going forward. So it's a completely different structure.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a best of 5 NLCS back then, not best of 7.
Right.
But you have 5 teams moving forward with 2 wild card spots, which makes the mentality of the game, I think, a little bit different. It also creates a situation where people are going to be asked to come back from injuries at a faster rate than they do today. And you don't have that luxury when you played in the era that we did. We had to have guys getting back that were injured as quickly as possible. There were no spots for runner-up or wild card. So the fact that we were as successful 4 World Series in 10 years, the 78 World Series was one of debate, the Reggie Jackson hip incident, and with instant replay as prominent as it is today in baseball, that call would have been overturned, and it probably would have given us the 78 title as well. But to get back into the World Series with the 2 best, in my opinion, traditions and history in Major League Baseball, to have the Yankees back within our grasp and to win in Yankee Stadium in 1981 was, essentially the highlight of our career.
You had a ringside seat for that epic 9-pitch Bob Welch, Reggie Jackson at bat to close out Game 2 of the '81 World Series. What are your recollections of that moment, that at bat?
Bobby Welch just closing it out. The funny thing about that is people recall the strikeout of which Reggie Jackson had driven in all the other runs in this game for the Yankees, a game in which we won 4-3, and I was the one who drove in all 4 runs for the Dodgers. So it kind of got lost in the shuffle, that epic battle with Bobby Welch, but certainly he was a great competitor, great pitcher for us, had a terrific career, and we still mourn his passing away here the last month.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of first-hand accounts in 1981, what was Nando Mania like as an insider while the rookie southpaw was decimating opponents and fascinating a nation?
It was great, I think, in the sense that if Walter O'Malley had been alive, this probably would have been one of his most enjoyable periods, having a Hispanic player of significance now being a major player in the Los Angeles market after moving from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. He would have probably loved to have seen that. But Fernando did an outstanding job for us. He was one of many pitchers that we've had here that have been terrific. And the fact that Fernando Mania was as wild and crazy as it was, we had already drawn 3 million people to set a major league record prior to him getting here, but certainly he added some touches to making sure that we got to 3 million just about every year.
You were a part of the longest-running infield in Major League history. Steve Garvey at first, Davey Lopes at second, Bill Russell at short, yourself at the hot corner. How much pride did you take and still take in being a part of such a successful collection of players?
The longevity, I think, allowed us to get to a place where no one has ever been before by a long shot. And your mention of the longest-running infield in Major League history is no doubt a fact, but also what is factual is that it is the most successful infield in Major League history by a long shot. And there's nobody that even came close to what we did as a group, playing in the World Series 4 times, being world champions, the number of all-star appearances by all our players, unmatched in Major League history. And I'm not going to tell you that we were the greatest infield of all time, just the most successful.
All right, fair enough. How strange was it to face off with Garvey in the 1984 National League Championship Series after all those years together in L.A.? You were with the Cubs, he was with the Padres. Were you torn a bit at all in regard to how to feel after Garvey's blast in Game 4 sent the series to a deciding game?
No, not really. I think that when I look back on it, what I remember most is that we both left the Dodgers at the same time after all those years of success. The Dodgers had an idea that it's better to trade people before the end of their career than to wait it out. And as it turned out, it was probably about 5 years short of where I ended up. But the fact that we were able to get back into the playoff structure with 2 different teams that hadn't had a great deal of success getting there, I think that speaks volumes for me in terms of being able to go someplace else and get the job done as well.
And finally, I know we're only halfway through the season, but as things stand right now, which 2 teams do you feel will be the last standing in the Fall Classic?
Oh boy, that's a tough one right now. I still think we have enough juice to get there. I think our pitching staff is our rotation. Let me clarify that. Our rotation right now, I believe, is clearly the best in baseball. Our offensive production has to get better. Our defense has improved dramatically. 2 months ago, we were the last team in fielding percentage in the National League, maybe all of baseball. And I think we just finished the month of June with only making 2 team errors the entire month. So we've turned things around there. The American League is a little bit different. Oakland has played really well from start to this point. They would probably be my favorite right now because they've played consistently. They haven't hit any lulls. But, you look at the rest of it, and anything can happen in the playoffs. It's not clear-cut. I still think the same old faces are probably going to get back there. Certainly Detroit's playing well enough to continue their run. They've been an outstanding team here the last 5 years or so. The East has Toronto playing probably its best baseball. They're going to be hungry and excited. It'd be a tough pick, but if I had to just go out on a limb right now, I would hopefully be saying the Dodgers and probably Oakland.
All right. Well, Ron Say, we really appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk with us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Take care.